In Chinese history, Emperor Shennong holds a place of great respect and reverence. He is often called the father of Chinese medicine because tradition says he personally tasted hundreds of plants and herbs to understand their healing properties and document them for the benefit of his people. One of the most famous stories dates back to 2737 BC. It is said that one day, while water was being boiled for the emperor, a few tea leaves from a nearby tree drifted into the pot. When he tasted this infused water, he was immediately impressed by its refreshing flavor and subtle energizing effects. That moment became the legendary beginning of tea drinking, and more specifically, the discovery of green tea as both a medicinal and nourishing drink. At that time, society relied heavily on herbal remedies. Modern science, hospitals, or advanced physicians did not exist. For every illness or weakness, people turned to nature. If a plant showed benefits, it quickly became a part of daily life. Green tea, as discovered by Shennong, was soon believed to aid digestion, improve clarity of thought, and relieve fatigue. These qualities were particularly valuable for elders, who often dealt with low energy, poor digestion, or age-related weakness. Early Chinese medical texts consistently mention tea as a remedy, reflecting how strongly it was adopted in healthcare practices. Interestingly, the use of green tea was not limited to drinking alone. Ancient writings show that tea leaves were also applied externally to soothe skin irritations, reduce inflammation, and promote healing. Seniors suffering from joint pain, digestive imbalance, or tiredness often found relief in this natural solution. In ancient Chinese culture, health was never viewed as only physical. It was always holistic. True wellness meant harmony of mind and body, and green tea was considered a tool to maintain that balance. It was not just medicine, but a part of spiritual and daily life. After Shennong's time, the practice of consuming green tea gradually expanded. In the beginning, it was strictly medicinal, recommended for specific conditions. Herbalists classified it as a cooling agent in traditional Chinese medicine, which meant it helped expel internal heat and toxins from the body. This was especially relevant for seniors, who were more prone to chronic imbalances such as high blood pressure, liver strain, and digestive discomfort. Drinking green tea was believed to restore internal balance and support longevity. Over time, green tea became more than a medicine. It grew into a social and cultural tradition. Yet for seniors, its role as a life-preserving tonic remained central. Many believed that regular tea drinking slowed the process of aging, improved energy, and protected vital organs. Its reputation grew so strong that later Chinese emperors and royals continued to consume it, and it earned the poetic title of elixir of life. Centuries later, modern science confirmed many of these ancient beliefs. Researchers discovered that green tea contains high levels of antioxidants, especially catechins like EGCG, which fight oxidative stress, slow cellular aging, and support heart health. These findings scientifically validated what Emperor Shennong had sensed through his own experience thousands of years earlier. The fatigue reduction, mental clarity, and overall sense of vitality he noticed were linked to these natural compounds working inside the body. Today, green tea still carries that historical weight. For seniors, it remains a symbol of health and longevity. Modern studies now echo what Chinese tradition has long claimed, that drinking green tea can support digestion, sharpen the mind, reduce inflammation, and even extend life expectancy. What began with a simple accident in Emperor Shennong's court became one of the most respected health practices in human history, especially valued by the elderly seeking vitality and balance. In Japan, green tea became more than just a drink. It turned into a philosophy of life, a ritual of discipline, and a source of both mental clarity and physical strength. Its history in Japan goes back to the 8th and 9th centuries, when Buddhist monks traveling to China to study Zen Buddhism first encountered tea culture. They brought back the practice of drinking tea as a way to remain alert and focused during long meditation hours. For monks, tea was not only a beverage but a spiritual aid, sharpening concentration while calming the mind. This dual-effect energy without restlessness soon made green tea a central part of Zen practices. Seniors and monks alike valued it because it promoted balance, something that was seen as essential to health and longevity. By the 12th century, tea had become deeply embedded in Japanese culture, thanks in part to a monk named Aisai, who is often credited with popularizing green tea in Japan. He wrote about the health benefits of tea in his book Kisa Yojoki, Tea Drinking for Health, describing it as a remedy for improving the vital organs, especially the heart and brain. Aisai emphasized that tea was more than refreshment. It was a tool for preserving health and preventing disease. His writings reached not only monks but also samurai warriors, who were always in search of ways to sharpen their minds and strengthen their bodies. For the samurai, whose lives demanded both discipline and resilience, green tea became an integral part of their daily regimen. The samurai discovered that green tea's unique balance of caffeine and L-theanine gave them a calm but alert state of mind, which was ideal before battles. They needed endurance, clarity, and emotional control, and tea provided exactly that. Unlike strong alcohol or heavy foods that could dull reflexes, green tea created what they described as a state of calm readiness. This meant the body was energized but the mind remained steady. For aging samurai or those recovering from years of conflict, tea also became a form of medicine, soothing the nervous system, aiding digestion, and reducing fatigue. It was seen as both a warrior's drink and a healer's tonic. As tea culture spread, it evolved into formal practices that we now know as the Japanese tea ceremony, or chano. This ceremony was not simply about drinking tea, it was a ritual of mindfulness, respect, and harmony. Seniors, monks, and warriors all participated in these ceremonies as a way to cultivate inner peace. Every movement in the tea ceremony was deliberate and symbolic, from the way the tea was whisked to the way it was served. For older generations, the ceremony itself became a meditative act, offering not just physical benefits but emotional stability and spiritual grounding. In Japanese culture, living long was not only about survival but about living with dignity and harmony, and green tea symbolized this approach. The samurai's respect for tea was also linked to their belief in discipline and simplicity. They followed a philosophy known as Bushido, the way of the warrior, which emphasized honor, clarity of mind, and control over impulses. Green tea fit perfectly into this code. It was pure, simple, and beneficial, unlike indulgent or excessive foods that were seen as weakening the body. Stories describe samurai drinking tea before duels to steady their nerves, or after battles to recover both physically and mentally. The tea house itself often became a place where warriors could set aside weapons and engage in dialogue, reflection, and the art of calm. For seniors in their later years, the tea house represented a retreat from the chaos of life into a state of mindfulness and community. Over the centuries, green tea came to be celebrated not only for its practical benefits, but also for its symbolic meaning. It represented balance between strength and calm, energy and serenity, body and spirit. For elders in Japanese society, who were highly respected for their wisdom and life experience, tea drinking was a way to continue nurturing both body and mind. It was not unusual for older monks and retired samurai to dedicate much of their later years to the tea ceremony, seeing it as a path toward inner peace and longevity. Modern science now shows why green tea played such an important role. The amino acid L-theanine promotes relaxation without drowsiness, while caffeine stimulates alertness. Together they create the unique mental state that monks and samurai described centuries ago. Antioxidants in green tea reduce inflammation, protect the heart, and slow down cellular aging issues that have always been central to senior health. What monks and samurai discovered through experience has now been confirmed in laboratories. Green tea truly supports both vitality and clarity. From meditation halls to battlefields, from monasteries to tea houses, the story of green tea in Japan reflects its deep connection to health, resilience, and longevity. It was more than a drink. It was a companion in discipline, a healer of the body, and a guide for the spirit. Seniors who embraced it were not just prolonging life but enriching it, finding strength in its warmth and tranquility in its simplicity. When green tea traveled beyond Asia and entered the Western world, it became not only a drink but a symbol of wealth, refinement, and later, political resistance. By the 1600s, European traders who had established strong connections with China began to import tea to ports in Portugal, Holland, and later England. Among the first types of tea to reach Europe was green tea, which fascinated the upper classes because of its exotic origins and reported health benefits. In a society where exotic imports such as spices, silk, and porcelain were signs of status, green tea quickly became associated with sophistication and privilege. In England during the 17th and 18th centuries, tea drinking became a fashionable pastime for aristocrats and the wealthy merchant class. Tea houses began to open in London, and tea drinking rituals spread among the elite. Green tea in particular was praised not only for its delicate taste, but for its supposed medicinal properties. Physicians and writers of that era described tea as a digestive aid, a way to sharpen the mind, and a tonic to preserve youth. Seniors, who were often searching for ways to maintain vitality and slow the decline of age, embraced green tea as part of their daily habits. The image of older men and women sipping tea in refined gatherings was a reflection of both cultural identity and a subtle quest for longevity. In colonial America, tea was imported by the British East India Company and was initially consumed primarily by the wealthy, just as it had been in Europe. Green tea, along with black tea, became a regular feature of social life in port cities like Boston, Philadelphia, and New York. Colonists appreciated tea not only for its flavor, but also for the sense of refinement it conferred. To drink tea was to emulate the sophistication of London society. For seniors in particular, tea represented comfort and dignity. Drinking tea at gatherings provided a sense of belonging, especially for elders who are respected as keepers of tradition within their families. But tea's story in America took a dramatic political turn in the mid-1700s. As tensions rose between Britain and its colonies, tea became a symbol of oppression because of heavy taxation. The Tea Act of 1773, which granted the British East India Company a monopoly on tea sales, angered colonists who felt exploited. Green tea, once a symbol of health and refinement, became tied to rebellion. The Boston Tea Party of 1773, where colonists dumped shipments of tea into the harbor as an act of defiance, marked a turning point not only in American history but also in the cultural perception of tea. In the wake of this protest, drinking tea was seen by many patriots as un-American, and coffee began to rise in popularity as an alternative. Still, despite this political resistance, green tea did not disappear. Many colonists continued to drink it in private, valuing it for its medicinal effects. Historical accounts show that older Americans, who were less concerned with political fashion than with their own well-being, often continued to use green tea quietly. They drank it to soothe digestion, reduce fatigue, and maintain alertness. In fact, advertisements and medical writings in colonial newspapers sometimes promoted tea as a cure for headaches, poor circulation, and even melancholy. This reflects how deeply tea had already been integrated into daily life, especially among seniors who prized it for its restorative qualities. Globally, the spread of tea in this period reflected broader patterns of trade and empire. Green tea from China was shipped in massive quantities, and its value was so high that it sometimes functioned almost like currency. For many, especially in Europe and America, tea drinking was not just about health, but also about being connected to a global system of culture and power. Seniors in elite households in Paris, London, or Boston could feel that by sipping green tea they were participating in something larger than themselves, a symbol of both refinement and modernity. In the centuries that followed, as trade expanded and production techniques changed, black tea began to dominate Western markets, but green tea retained its reputation as the healthier choice. While political events reshaped its cultural meaning, the historical connection to health and longevity never disappeared. Seniors in Europe and America continued to associate green tea with digestion, clarity, and vitality, just as Emperor Shennon had thousands of years earlier, and Japanese monks and samurai had centuries before. Modern studies now shed light on why these historical beliefs persisted. The antioxidants in green tea support cardiovascular health, aid metabolism, and protect the brain, exactly the kinds of issues older people have always sought to manage. History shows that even when green tea was caught in the storms of global politics, its identity as a health-preserving drink remained strong. The fact that seniors across cultures and centuries continued to value it underscores how deeply it was trusted as a companion in aging gracefully. In the 20th century, green tea began to shift from being seen primarily as a cultural tradition to being studied as a scientific phenomenon. For thousands of years, people across China, Japan, and eventually the rest of the world had believed in the health benefits of tea based on experience, ritual, and anecdote. Elders drank it because it eased digestion, calmed the nerves, and seemed to preserve vitality. But as modern science advanced, researchers started to isolate the compounds inside green tea to discover why it had such powerful effects. What they found was remarkable. Green tea contained unique molecules called catechins, and among them, one in particular, pergolocatechin galate, or EGC, stood out as a potent protector of the human body. The discovery of catechins gave a scientific explanation for what ancient traditions had already practiced. Catechins are a type of polyphenol, a plant compound with strong antioxidant properties. Antioxidants are substances that neutralize free radicals, the unstable molecules in the body that contribute to aging and disease by damaging cells and DNA. Seniors, whose bodies naturally face greater oxidative stress as they age, benefit especially from antioxidants. In the past, people simply knew that drinking green tea made them feel stronger, calmer, and healthier. Now, scientists could prove that these feelings were linked to the chemical structure of catechins working at the cellular level. Research into EGCG expanded quickly in the 20th and 21st centuries. Laboratories around the world tested green tea extracts in both animals and humans. They found that EGCG had the ability to protect the cardiovascular system by improving blood vessel function and reducing cholesterol. This meant that seniors who drank green tea regularly had a lower risk of heart disease, one of the leading causes of mortality in older populations. Studies also showed that EGCG could help regulate blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity, making it valuable for managing type 2 diabetes, which is increasingly common among seniors. These findings connected directly to the age-old belief that green tea was a tonic for longevity and balance. One of the most exciting areas of modern research focused on green tea's role in brain health. EGCG was shown to cross the blood-brain barrier, where it exerted protective effects on neurons. Laboratory studies suggested that it could reduce the buildup of plaques and tangles associated with Alzheimer's disease, while also lowering inflammation in brain tissue. For seniors, this meant that a simple daily cup of green tea could support memory, focus, and mental clarity. Ancient monks had claimed centuries earlier that tea sharpened meditation and cleared the mind. Now neuroscience was validating those claims with molecular evidence. Another significant discovery was the effect of catechins on cellular aging itself. Free radicals not only damage tissues but also accelerate the shortening of telomeres. The protective caps on the ends of DNA strands, telomere shortening, is associated with aging and disease. By reducing oxidative stress, EGCG helped preserve telomere length, slowing down the cellular clock that drives aging. This scientific perspective gave new weight to the old description of green tea as an elixir of life. Seniors who had long believed that tea helped them stay youthful now had proof that at the level of cells and DNA, this was not just myth, but measurable reality. Clinical studies also showed that EGCG supported weight management by boosting metabolism and fat oxidation. For seniors, maintaining a healthy weight is often a struggle, yet critical for reducing the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and joint pain. Green tea offered a gentle, natural way to support metabolism without harsh stimulants. It provided steady energy and calm alertness. Unlike coffee, which could cause jitteriness, this balance, created by the combination of caffeine and L-theanine in tea, explained why older adults often preferred it as a daily ritual. It energized without overwhelming, supported digestion, and aligned with the body's natural rhythms. The cancer-fighting potential of EGCG also became an area of intense study. While scientists remain cautious about overstating the benefits, many experiments revealed that green tea polyphenols can slow the growth of tumors, reduce inflammation that contributes to cancer development, and even enhance the body's natural immune defense mechanisms. For seniors who face higher risks of cancer due to accumulated DNA damage over time, this reinforced the idea of green tea as a protective ally. What is striking is how the language of science often echoed the wisdom of tradition. Where monks and elders once described tea as calming the spirit, scientists explained it as modulating neurotransmitters and reducing cortisol, the stress hormone. Where ancient physicians described tea as cleansing the blood, modern researchers detailed its ability to improve circulation and reduce arterial stiffness. The bridge between history and science made green tea more than just an old habit. It became a globally respected, scientifically validated health practice. By the late 20th century and into the 21st, green tea extracts were appearing in supplements, skincare products, and weight loss formulas. Yet for seniors, the simplest and most authentic way remained the traditional one, brewing fresh tea leaves in hot water. Just as people had done for thousands of years. Each cup carried both history and science, ritual and research, culture and chemistry. And with every sip, seniors could connect not only to the wisdom of their ancestors, but also to the cutting-edge discoveries of modern health science, all centered around one humble but powerful compound, DGCG. On the southern edge of Japan lies Okinawa, a chain of islands that has fascinated scientists, doctors, and journalists for decades because of the extraordinary health and longevity of its people. Okinawa is often called the land of immortals, not because its residents literally live forever, but because they have one of the highest proportions of centenarians in the world. Men and women frequently live well into their 90s and beyond. often with minimal disability, sharp minds, and active lifestyles. Researchers who came to study this phenomenon noticed many contributing factors, including diet, physical activity, strong community bonds, and a sense of purpose in life. But one of the consistent elements that kept appearing in the daily routines of Okinawan elders was green tea. Green tea in Okinawa is not consumed as a luxury or occasional treat. It is woven into daily life, served with meals, shared with friends, and sipped throughout the day. Elders often start their mornings with tea and continue drinking small cups during work, social gatherings, and even moments of rest. In Okinawan homes, it is common to see teapots filled with green tea ready to be poured at any time. For seniors, this habit is not just about hydration, it is a cultural and medicinal practice that they believe supports vitality, digestion, and calmness. The type of tea they often drink is a variation that sometimes blends green tea with jasmine or herbs, creating a soothing yet energizing beverage. Researchers studying Okinawan centenarians found that daily consumption of green tea correlated with lower risks of heart disease, stroke, and certain cancers. These findings echoed traditional beliefs but gave them measurable proof. The antioxidants in green tea, particularly EGCG, were shown to reduce oxidative stress, lower inflammation, and protect the cardiovascular system. For seniors, these benefits were critical because they directly addressed the most common causes of aging-related decline. Instead of relying solely on modern medicine, Okinawan elders had built these protective habits into their culture centuries ago. The link between green tea and brain health was also striking. Okinawan seniors displayed lower rates of dementia compared to many other populations of similar age. When scientists looked at diet patterns, they saw that regular green tea consumption was one of the protective factors. Polyphenols in tea help maintain healthy blood flow to the brain and prevent the buildup of damaging proteins. Elders who drank tea daily often retained memory, clarity, and social engagement well into their 80s and 90s. In interviews, many centenarians described tea as part of their relaxation routine, a time to slow down, reflect, and share stories with family. This mental and emotional benefit, combined with biological protection, created a double shield against cognitive decline. The Okinawan lifestyle also highlighted how tea drinking was tied to moderation. Unlike sugary drinks or heavy alcohol, green tea provided comfort without strain on the body. Seniors could drink it freely without worrying about weight gain or damaging their organs. Its mild caffeine content kept them alert but never jittery, offering steady energy for gardening, walking, or social activities. Scientists who tracked activity levels noticed that Okinawan elders remained far more mobile and independent than their counterparts in many Western countries. Green tea supported this by improving circulation, protecting joints through its anti-inflammatory effects, and encouraging hydration. Another fascinating aspect was the cultural meaning of tea in Okinawa. Sharing tea was seen as an act of community and kindness. Elders would invite neighbors or family members to drink tea together, reinforcing social bonds that are known to protect against loneliness and depression in old age. The ritual of brewing and serving tea carried symbolic weight, representing hospitality, mindfulness, and respect. For seniors, this sense of belonging was just as important to longevity as the biological benefits of the drink. A heart that feels connected lives longer, and tea gatherings provided that emotional nourishment daily. When global researchers compared Okinawan tea drinking to patterns in other long-lived populations, such as those in Mediterranean regions, they found a consistent theme: natural beverages rich in antioxidants, consumed regularly and socially, support both health and happiness. In Okinawa, green tea fits seamlessly with a diet rich in vegetables, tofu, sweet potatoes, and fish, creating a synergy that maximized its effects. Elders often describe tea not as a miracle cure, but as part of a balanced way of life, a companion to meals and conversations. Yet this very balance may be the secret: nothing extreme, only steady habits sustained over decades. Modern nutritionists now emphasize what Okinawans have practiced for generations. Daily green tea drinking can be one of the simplest yet most powerful habits for seniors. It reduces risks of chronic diseases, supports mental clarity, and fosters social connection. For Okinawan elders who live with a philosophy called ikigai, a sense of purpose plays a role in that purpose, reminding them to slow down, connect, and enjoy the small rituals of life. The story of Okinawa reinforces what history and science have both suggested. Green tea is not just a drink, but a lifestyle practice that carries profound effects on longevity. The elders of these islands prove that habits built around simple, natural choices can create lives not only long in years but rich in quality. For seniors everywhere, looking at the cups of tea sipped daily in Okinawa is like peering into a living example of how tradition, science, and community come together to shape healthy aging. In many parts of Asia, particularly China and Japan, green tea has never been seen as just a casual drink. It has been revered for centuries as a form of medicine, a natural remedy that people turned to not only for comfort, but for healing and prevention. The cultural belief that tea is medicine is deeply embedded in traditional practices and continues to influence the way seniors approach health even today. This perspective is not limited to the physical body, but extends to the mind and spirit, giving tea a unique role in maintaining balance and longevity. In traditional Chinese medicine, health is understood through the balance of yin and yang, the harmony of heat and cold, and the proper flow of qi, or life energy. Green tea was classified as a cooling herb, one that could reduce internal heat, calm the body, and flush out toxins. Physicians from ancient dynasties prescribed it for ailments ranging from headaches and fever to digestive issues and fatigue. For seniors, who were more vulnerable to imbalances of the body due to aging, green tea was a gentle yet effective treatment. It did not overwhelm the system but instead restored balance gradually. Elders would often be encouraged to drink tea daily to maintain vitality and slow the deterioration of health that naturally comes with age. This medicinal identity of tea was also carried forward in Japan, where the philosophy of food as medicine was deeply ingrained in daily life. Green tea was believed to cleanse the body, purify the blood, and sharpen mental clarity. Buddhist monks, who introduced and popularized tea drinking in Japan, treated it as an aid to meditation, something that prevented drowsiness while promoting focus and tranquility. Over time, Japanese seniors adopted tea as part of their cultural rituals, not only to stay physically healthy but also to maintain mental and emotional well-being. The practice of tea drinking became a healing act in itself, a moment of calm and restoration. For centuries, written medical texts across Asia praised the therapeutic qualities of green tea. The famous Chinese physician Hua Tu, regarded as a pioneer in surgery and herbal medicine, referred to tea as a remedy for indigestion and lethargy. Later, in the Ming Dynasty, scholars documented its ability to prevent disease and prolong life. These texts circulated widely, and the belief that tea was medicine became a truth that families passed from one generation to the next. Seniors, in particular, absorbed this wisdom, seeing their daily tea as equal to taking a protective tonic. What makes this cultural view even more compelling is how it aligns with modern scientific discoveries. The ancient claim that tea cleanses the body finds validation today in the understanding that green tea is rich in catechins, natural antioxidants that fight free radicals and reduce oxidative stress. The belief that it purifies the blood resonates with evidence showing tea's ability to lower cholesterol and improve circulation. Even the idea that it clears the mind mirrors the modern finding that green tea enhances brain function and protects against cognitive decline. What elders once accepted as cultural truth is now being supported by clinical research, bridging the wisdom of tradition with the knowledge of science. The medicinal status of green tea also shaped how it was consumed. Unlike many beverages that are taken in large quantities for pleasure, tea was traditionally consumed in smaller, mindful servings, often several times a day. Seniors would sip tea slowly, allowing its warmth and subtle energy to flow through them. This manner of consumption reflected the belief that medicine should be taken in moderation, consistently, and with intention. The act of preparing tea itself became part of the healing process, selecting leaves, boiling water, steeping carefully each step reinforcing the idea that one was not merely making a drink but practicing self-care. In communities across Asia, elders still refer to green tea as something that protects them from illness. When someone feels unwell, they are often advised to rest, eat light, and drink tea. This advice might sound simple, but its roots stretch back thousands of years. It carries with it the accumulated trust of generations who witnessed the subtle but lasting power of tea. Seniors who grew up with this cultural wisdom often feel comforted, not just by the physical relief it provides, but also by the sense of continuity, knowing they are part of a long tradition of healing. The cultural belief in green tea as medicine has also given seniors a sense of empowerment. Instead of relying only on external treatments or doctors, they have something accessible and natural that they can use daily to maintain their health. This creates a feeling of control over their well-being, which is psychologically powerful. Knowing that every cup of tea is an act of healing strengthens not only the body but also the spirit. This confidence, combined with the physical benefits of tea, contributes to the resilience and longevity often observed in tea-drinking cultures. Today, as Western audiences embrace green tea, the medicinal perspective continues to influence how it is marketed and understood. It is praised for weight loss, heart health, cancer prevention, and brain protection. While these claims are grounded in science, they echo the same cultural truths that seniors in Asia have known for centuries. For the elderly, this continuity reinforces their lifelong trust in tea. They do not see it as a trend or a supplement, but as a faithful companion in the journey of aging gracefully. The story of green tea as medicine is not just about chemistry or culture, it is about the deep relationship between people and nature. Seniors across Asia have lived their lives with tea as both nourishment and remedy, carrying forward a wisdom that blends tradition with evidence. Each cup is a reminder that healing can be simple, natural, and deeply rooted in everyday rituals. This enduring belief has given generations of elders strength, balance, and longevity, proving that sometimes the best medicine is not found in a pill but in a humble leaf steeped in hot water.